And once again, we want to take you back live to Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Of course, this is the busiest airport in the country, and you can expect it is about to get a whole lot busier as Air Canada flight operations are getting back up to speed as we've been tracking this Air Canada flight taxiing on the tarmac, what appears to be then a WestJet flight right behind it. As Air Canada flights for the past couple days, the planes themselves have been sitting idle on the tarmac as we've all been dealing with an Air Canada strike by flight attendants, as the two sides have been trying to work out a deal, and as it appears, a tentative deal has been reached between the airline, Air Canada, and the union representing some 10,000 flight attendants. And so these planes are now getting back up to speed as quick as possible. As we've heard from the airline, however, it could take quite some time for its full operation to get back up to speed. As we heard from airline executives, as you might expect, it's not just a push of a button and everything can get back up to speed, as planes have to be repositioned, crew have to be repositioned, and these planes have to get people booked on some of them again, and they're trying to get other bookings redone, as so many passengers have had their flights canceled over the past several days, dealing with this strike by Air Canada flight attendants who were ordered to go back on the job on Saturday, but pushed back against that back-to-work order and remained on strike. But the two sides were able to get back to the bargaining table late yesterday with the help of a federal mediator, negotiated for several hours, well into the early morning hours, and then an announcement came out quite early. So a lot of people waking up today likely breathing a sigh of relief, not just for those who are obviously connected to this, and that includes the airline, and that means the union, the 10,000 members, and the union executives really trying to hash out this deal, but of course the tens of thousands of passengers who've been affected by this flight, by flight cancellations and the strike by Air Canada passengers. Once again, as we continue to follow this plane on the tarmac at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. This is a flight heading to Montreal, one of the first flights, if not the first flight, for Air Canada to take off as it gets its operations back up to speed. We've been following this plane on the tarmac in Toronto as it's taxied its way around the tarmac to different sections to get to the runway. And this is likely the scene happening at many airports right across the country as Air Canada planes that had been sitting idle for several days now are now about to get back into the sky. And as we heard from flight operations as well, there might still be some cancellations over the next few days, as it appears this plane is now getting onto the runway and about to, step on it, in other words, and take off towards Montreal. From what I believe, this is a flight that is headed to Montreal. But we've heard from airline executives that there might be cancellations in the days ahead as they try to work through the schedule with these planes sitting idle for several days. If there happens to be any maintenance issues, of course, that is something that could arise over the next couple of days as we are watching this first flight, if not the first flight for Air Canada to take off after the resolution of this tentative deal between Air Canada and the union, representing some 10,000 flight attendants, coming to a tentative deal to get back into the sky and get the planes moving again and get thousands of passengers moving again, as well. As we've been hearing from so many over the past several days, some have been stuck at home hoping to go on vacation, to see family and friends. Of course, it is the busy summer travel season. But of course, there are Air Canada passengers stuck in other parts of the world trying to get home as well, as this flight is now taking off, heading to Montreal, one of the first, if not the first flight for Air Canada to get back into the sky after resolution to the strike by Air Canada flight attendants.